Hello, my name is Gerald, and I'm with Liberated Lens. We have the privilege to have with us this evening Sister Shirah Dedman. How you doing, Shirah?
Hey, how's it going?
You know, you just made this film, and I watched it, and I thought it was very interesting. But I want to start off by asking you, what made you make a film about the mechanics and just the whole situation around the gentrification of West Oakland? The name of the film is You a Nomad.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm going to say that I myself am nomadic. I'm from LA, but I was always moving around, like even though it was like in LA and I'm from the Valley, but it was like we were here, we were there. And so I ended up coming to Oakland about 2.5 years ago, and I came to work on a documentary about food. But when I got here and I started talking to people, the thing that kept coming up was gentrification. And obviously I know gentrification. I'm from LA. Tons of gentrification going on. But I think, you know, people knowing the background of Oakland being a black city, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, I could say the statistics now, but like in a generation, it goes from, or even in less than a generation, it goes from being close to 40% of the population, and now the black population is closer to, I've read somewhere where it says 26, but I've also read somewhere where it says 23%. So when you see that and when you're like confronted with it, I couldn't help but ask, okay, well, what happened to the black people? And that's what You a Nomad seeks to answer. It's like, okay, well, what did happen to the black people? And so as I'm questioning this and asking, you know, the people that are in the film, and the film consists of like 5 different people, it really is as much a journey for me in understanding this, and then giving that journey, you know, those answers to, or I shouldn't say answers, but what's happening to the audience too. So it's like we're on this journey together trying to find out what happened to the black people in Oakland.
Okay, that's the way you constructed the film. Yeah. So, you know, I can't help but to notice a parallel, a similarity between the events and how the gentrification situation unfolded here in Oakland and in Harlem. You know, I personally lived in Harlem in the South Bronx growing up. And I went back when I was on the Pacifica board, and it blew my mind. It literally blew my mind that the entire situation had flipped. It was, I don't know, must have been about 70% white when I went back 2012 maybe, somewhere like that. And I guess I hadn't been paying attention. We did show a film, Liberated Lens shows films, and we invite our directors to come and talk about their films and answer questions. And we showed the film Rezoning Harlem, and I just couldn't get away from the parallel, you know, between your work and that rezoning of Harlem and the actual facts of what happened. What do you think about
Yeah, I think that, like, what I love about You a Nomad is it's about Oakland, but really it's about so many cities nationwide, right? Like, this isn't the systematic roots of gentrification, like, aren't just unique to Oakland. We see it happening time and time again, and whether it's in, you know, Harlem or LA, Oakland, San Francisco, even what's happening in Atlanta, right? So it's, I think that, again, like, You a Nomad is really trying to look at it from a systemic issue, and when you watch it, you can see that, again, this is happening in cities across the nation in terms of depopulating the African Americans from cities.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, we do want our viewers to know that this film will be shown at the Omni. That's next Sunday, eh?
Saturday, so February 24th. From 5 to 7, that's when the event is. So we'll be screening the film, and we'll also be having a panel.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and it's Coffrey J from Hip Hop for Change, Wanda Stewart, who's an urban farmer, Angie, why am I going to ruin her last name? I apologize, Watson Hajim. And she works at Echo Housing, and she's in the film as well. So it's going to be nice to have somebody from the film, on the panel and discussing this. And she's a fair housing advocate.
I'm going to say it. When I saw the film, I just said, more. More.
No, you didn't, Gerald. You
like,
said, what happened to the rest? I was like, it's a 20-minute film, so like this is what you get.
Well, but it's a strong 20 minutes. And I was just wondering now, because I'm trying to put together in my mind, you did this all basically yourself.
Yeah. I had some help. There are a couple of places where, by actually somebody that used to be on Liberated Lens helped me shoot, one of them, but I would say mostly done by myself, in the sense of like, and I had mentors, which I think is really important. But again, in terms of like developing the film, actually, for the most part, doing most of the shooting, editing, and distributing it. That was really all me, and again, not really trying to, but just to go through the process of proving that it can be done. Not even just to myself, but at the time I was writing like a monthly newsletter to help educate other minority filmmakers, because so like my background is that I used to work in the entertainment industry, and I just saw the frustration of underserved filmmakers saying like, oh, please let us in. That's the way I say it. Let us in to this group. Pick us, choose us. And I'm like, dude, you're not going to get chosen. This stuff is based on comps, which means comparisons. Does your stuff compare to stuff that has been before? Well, systemically, we know what's been made before. So it becomes institutionalized as to the reason why you're not being chosen, right?
Wow.
And so that's the reason why I'm like, we need to start creating our own systems. We need to start doing this. And
you did that.
Thanks.
I mean, God, you got your own website. I know. I went and checked. I checked the sister out. She got a little website.
youanomad.com.
And that's right. youanomad.com. www.youanomad.com. And you make suggestions for the media, press releases. Very thorough, very well thought out. I really like that.
Thank you.
Because it's designed for success.
Thanks.
And I certainly hope that your film is successful and gets around. The other thing is, see, a lot of people that are skilled, there's a lot of skills out here. People know how to make a film. You can learn how to edit by yourself. Got Final Cut.
Yeah, but it took a lot of tears. I was like, oh my God, this film is so bad.
But it's not enough. You make the greatest film in the world and nobody will see it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right?
Exactly.
So part of making the film is thinking about how will I stimulate the distribution of this film. And I think you've done quite well in that regard.
Thanks.
Makes sense what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that was my whole thing too. I was never going to make a film that I didn't think would get seen, in the sense of it's not good enough for me to just make something, because a lot of what informs what I make is to get in front of audiences, have audiences talking about it, because hopefully we're all learning from it, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously You and Nomad is about stimulating conversation about what's happening in the Black community and what we can do about it. So obviously having that on a shelf and just existing and being able to point to it, or even say, oh, look, it's in a film festival, like that's great, but is this getting in front of the audience I needed to get in front of to start those conversations that we as a Black community need to start having, right? And so that's why for me it was like, okay, what can I do? And I tried so many different ways. I really tried to create partnerships whereby I was reaching out to Black like publications and saying, hey, maybe you guys want to stream this. You're looking for content. Everybody wants content now. And nobody wanted it. And I kept going. And I was like, I don't care. This is, if it kills me, this is good. Has to get in front of an audience. And when I talked about pointing to my mentor, I was really lucky in meeting a mentor who helped to start to have, how do you say this, help me put together my first screening, because I ended up calling him. He's a professor at or instructor at Merritt College, and I called him up and said, hey, I did this film. Thank you again for your help and like your, all of the information you were able to give me, and I did something with it. Now can we get in front of an audience? He's like, okay, yeah, let's have it here. And then from there, I promoted it. I put it up on Eventbrite. I put it up on Facebook. And I, really tried to put it up in front of everybody, create flyers or whatever. And we were really lucky because I thought that the only people who would show up were people from the college. And that's not true. Only like a third, if that, were from the college. And we were really shocked about that, to see that word had really spread about the film. And one of the things I really wanted to do was always get the audience. So Merritt, you have to drive, right? I wanted, not everybody has a car, especially like in the Bay Area. So how do you make it accessible to those people? And that's why I'm really glad that Liberated Lens decided to host this film, and because you guys are accessible by, transportation, public transportation. So I'm really glad. I'm really looking forward to it. I think that there's going to be a really good turnout, and the film is currently on YouTube, but I still think that people want to come and see it. And like, I know because I've been handing out my little flyer card to people saying, hey, we have a live screening, but you can always watch it on YouTube. And I've had people say, I can't wait to go to that live screening. I've let them know that there's a panel, and I think people really do want to discuss this idea of the displacement of Black Oakland. And so even knowing that they can watch it on their own, they want to come to have that discussion, which is really what the point of the film was, to help spur those kind of conversations, community conversations. And so that's what's going to happen on the 24th here at Liberated Lens or Omni Commons.
Well, I want our viewers to know, when I say that the sister did everything for herself, here is an example of how it don't cost you a dime to try to be really creative, reach out in your own community. The name of the film is You a Nomad. Would you take a minute and tell us how you met? The brother's name is Nasiah?
Yeah, Nasiah Perry.
Yeah, how you met him and how you wound up getting the name of this film.
Yeah, so Nasiah and I met through Twitter. And I don't even remember why I was on Twitter. And I think I said something about working on a film in gentrification in Oakland. And he responded and said, oh, yeah, this is what's happening in Oakland. And I'm like, oh, let's talk. And basically it came out that, well, he's currently incarcerated. So I was like, oh, wow, I was not getting this at all. Because I think I said, oh, let's meet up, let's talk. He's like, yeah, I don't think you're really getting this. Like, I'm incarcerated. I'm like, oh, okay. And so the sound quality is bad, especially because at that point I didn't figure out how to do it better. So I literally like have my cell phone and I'm like, have my recorder and I'm like trying to or I think I had it on speaker and I'm recording what we're talking about. So you'll notice that the sound quality is very different because he literally is currently incarcerated and we're talking over a cell phone.
Yeah, but you know what? It probably wouldn't sound any different if you were visiting the brother in the joint.
Yeah.
So, it is, but that's not what impressed me. What impressed me was not so much the quality of the sound versus, but
the content.
Yeah.
And I think to go back to what you're saying and the fact that he talks about being a nomad, what was crazy is, I'm from LA, I'm from the San Fernando Valley. I always tell people I'm a product of Section 8. My parents took the Section 8 and moved us to where the white people were. And so, but it's interesting to hear him tell his story. And he's from Oakland, East Oakland. And he was talking about moving around so much. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like this is my story. I moved around so much. And to see that, and to really start to think about that in terms of it being a reality for the Black community or a lot of people. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen to everybody else, but again, what that means for the Black community, and that you have, me and this person who, in a sense, have very different backgrounds or are very different, but actually we're the same, right? Like, and so that really struck me, and understanding the again, the roots of displacement and the roots of that upheaval and sort of like our gypsy lives and how that affects us in terms of how we relate to our community.
Whoa, wow. I thought it was, the brother actually touched me, because I think about our children and how this nomadic reality affects their development, But I just want to thank you so much for joining us here, and I hope our viewers don't miss it. We'll be here at the Omni
on the 24th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
You don't want to miss this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.